Hey y'all, I'm your host, Aaron Smith of the Offshore Marine Service Association. Each Friday, I'll bring you the Offshore Briefing, a quick rundown of the week's notable developments, updates, and news you need to know in the offshore space. Whether you're on deck or at your desk, we're glad you're here.
Welcome, everyone, to Maritime in America, the Offshore Briefing. As always, I am your host, Aaron Smith, and as always, I have with me Angel Johnson and Ashley Smith. And actually, considering how both of them sound, I hope I can say that I always have them with me. I think we might lose one or two of them. Geez, you sure you're all right, ladies?
I'm better. Angel is not.
No, mine's literally just started like maybe when I woke up this morning.
Well, and I'm sorry if it is
audience.
loud on my end. I am traveling today and having to record from the airport. So I have found the quietest spot, but I'm sure I'm actually sitting under some speaker that will announce a meaningless flight from 2 terminals over right in the middle of this. So my apologies. But what do y'all want to talk about? Ashley, why don't you go first today?
Well,
Because I know what Angel wants to talk about, and
I
it's going to
know.
run into what I want to talk about.
Well,
So
and you never know what I really want to talk about today is how the train goes through Old Metairie and stops at every single cross through, and you can't ever get through. And say you're across there with a dog and you've already walked a few miles, and then you have to backtrack a few miles and then walk back a few miles, and said dog passes out and you have to carry the 45-pound dog about 3 miles. How frustrating it is. But this is neither here nor there. I want to tell all the members that I am starting to roll out registration for events next week. I've been getting emails. Everyone's getting excited about it. For DC, for our crawfish boils and everything. I'm just kind of lining it all up. And most importantly, for the golf tournament May 8th. So everyone can get everything lined up for that. So look out next week for that.
excellent. And we're going to add some events to the calendar, right?
Yes. And we're looking to add some events, possibly the, what is it? What is it called, Aaron? I get it every time wrong.
TTB.
TTB. I want to say like a
Tug, tow, and
BBB,
barge.
which is a Brazilian butt lift. We're not getting that. I guess we will get
That's
that one off.
that's a BBL, by the way.
Oh, that's what I meant. A BBL, not a BBB. Oh God, Better Business Bureau. Yes, we're looking at maybe hosting something there in Mobile and a few other places. And that came from tips from members that suggested we do this. So if you're listening and you want us to come throw a party, let your girl know.
Good call. Good call.
Okay, that's my
Angel,
diatribe.
what did you want to talk about? And I can't comment on your first story because I don't like trains.
So I will try to be quick because my voice sounds horrible. So during my research this week, there was lots of mentions of the MAP, the Maritime Action Plan, and with the aim being to restore American maritime strength and dominance. It was interesting to see that MARAD has opened its new application cycle for its Center of Excellence program. So this is big news for maritime training institutions and for the future of the workforce. So the Center of Excellence, or the networks of colleges or maritime training schools and workforce education institutions, for them to receive federal designation from MARAD to help train and educate future generation maritime workers.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but this program has so much hope. And yeah, I'll talk about MAP in a little bit. But there's so many things it could do. And I don't mean even with massive federal dollars. I mean, it could just like share curricula back and forth. So like if one company has created a curricula and had it Coast Guard approved, share it with the other centers of excellence. But like, is this just like a stamp they put on their wall? Like, hey, we're a center of excellence. Does it do anything after that? And you don't have to answer that. I'm asking these rhetorically. So it just seems that this program should be so much more.
Yeah, it should, but it's supposed to connect, or it's supposed to be a pipeline for mariners into the industry. So it's one of the pipeline ways, I would say. And I did have to take a little short break there because my voice. But anyway, so the maritime workers of the new generation I was talking about, these people can go. These can be at sea or on shore. So it can be from shipbuilding to port operations, everywhere in between. And right now, there are 32 centers of excellence spread across 17 states. And I do know that at least one of our members are a part of that. So some new things about this cycle, because there has been some updates to the program policy requirements. Previously, designations lasted for a year. That is now extended to 5 years. So this does give time for institutions to fully develop their program, and maybe they can share some of the information like you were saying, Aaron. And then another thing, because of new policy changes, everyone who applied in a previous cycle, those applications are now terminated or invalid due to those compliance changes. So everyone just would need to resubmit with the new application under the new policy guidelines. I'm going to stop talking now.
Well, one, I feel so bad for you, but two, yeah, let's talk about Maritime Action Plan. And I hope that all OMSA members saw the press release that we put out about it, and then saw that some of the information in it. And I would say that it is quite an accomplishment. And I think this is a strong showing of where this administration considers the U.S. maritime and the U.S. offshore industry, is that the PAM policy change that we pushed for and we received last year from the Coast Guard is mentioned as one of only like 3 regulatory reduction measures that are mentioned in the Maritime Action Plan, is mentioned there. That really shows, kind of what is going on in this industry and how important this administration thinks our segment of the industry is. So that was the first thing I saw about the plan that I wanted to highlight. Um, I would say that the plan goes through, and it has all the usual stats. That it talks about. Oh, only 1% of commercial ships are built in the United States. The U.S. has 66 shipyards. Only 8 can build a vessel longer than 400 feet. I think that is correct. Well, those are correct, but I think the plan should also look at where the industry is achieving and double down on those aspects. Double down on the offshore industry, double down on the inland industry, and use those as springboards to other markets. Um, Instead of trying to go after all of the international shipping, let's build from the outside in at the same time. Go get all the Chinese ships out of our waters, and let's go there. So I hope, and I see some indications that this administration agrees with us on that. And I think we can continue to push for that. So that's what I've seen. There's lots of good stuff on incentivizing shipyards by creating a shipbuilding financial incentives program, I believe it was called, and using existing federal funding like Title 12 and the Capital Construction Fund and the Construction Reserve Fund to fund ship construction. But I think the best way to grow an industry is to build a market, and I would like to see some more building of market items. And actually, I think the biggest ways that we can build a market are on the regulatory reduction items that are mentioned in there, like the PAMs. If you have people that are just completely covered up by red tape, they're not going to be able to innovate and improve and get better. So that's what I saw. We're going to have a full summary of the plan out, so OMSA members should look for that. And if you're not an OMSA member, become one so you can get that summary. But that's kind of what I saw. Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I agree. Like I said before, there was a lot of things about MAP when I was doing my research, and I saw a lot of positives about it, very few negatives. So I do think that it good for the industry.
And I can't wait to nerd out with all the details like I did for the cybersecurity.
And don't get me wrong, I think there's a lot of great details. And again, I mean, no one else really had a discrete regulatory initiative that got mentioned in it other than OMSA. I think that's a very good sign for us. And I think that there are good measures in there for shipyards. There's some good measures in there for workforce. There are some measures um, for vessel owners. I think there should be more. There's even some good measures in there for cable aid. There's a reference about how we need to be able to control the data cables that are laid through the Arctic. Completely agree. Definitely. And we shouldn't be doing it with foreign ships. It should be U.S. ships and U.S. mariners laying those cables and repairing those cables. So I
Sounds
think
like
there's a
they've been
lot,
listening to us.
yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in there. We just need to, it is a plan. It's not a blueprint, if that makes sense. Now we need to make the blueprint from the plan. So, well, I think we have covered enough today considering y'all's voice and my loud airport here. So I hope people found this informative. And again, watch out for that summary of the Maritime Action Plan.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Happy
Happy
Friday.
Friday.
Everyone be safe.
That wraps up another episode of Maritime in America. We're proud to highlight the voices and stories that keep the American offshore industry strong. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us, and remember, the course ahead is shaped by those who step up and steer. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your crew. Tune in every Friday for your offshore briefing, and don't miss our next full episode, dropping soon with a very special guest's mariner's perspective. Catch you next time.